Okay, everybody, this is mooneydashcam. Tonight, we're in Washington Heights, Manhattan. Really, we're on the outskirts of Washington Heights, more in the Fort George area. We're going to be talking about a woman that was killed in her own apartment and dismembered by pretty much the person you would least suspect to do it. So let's flip this around and get into it. The address that we're going to, her apartment, is 34 Hillside Avenue. Excuse the rain on the windshield, there's nothing I can do about it. Even the windshield wipers don't help much with the blurriness. So, the person we're talking about today is Deborah Bowling, a 37-year-old who was going for her PhD at Hunter College in Manhattan. So she was having trouble paying rent, so she offered a room to someone she went to college with, a young guy named Julian Cowell. He was 23 years old. Like I said, she was working on her PhD and he was going there for computer programming, and he was self-employed as a computer programmer. From what everybody says, he was a very soft-spoken, nice guy. Then, they're living pretty normally until Deborah's mother, Irene, calls Deborah's close friend from home, from California, saying that Deborah didn't show up for work Friday, August 2nd. She worked at a brokerage firm in Rockefeller Plaza. And then after that, one of her friends shows up at the apartment that they both stayed at. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, so they both had separate rooms. And Julian let them in, expressed concern over the phone and in person, because family and friends were calling him over the phone. I assume they had like an apartment, maybe a landline in the apartment. It was 1991 when this happened. So that was Friday. She didn't show up to work. On Monday, one of Deborah's friends files a missing persons report, and later that day, officers go to her apartment. And same situation, the guy Julian lets them in, expresses concern, is very helpful, shows them around the apartment. They look around, they don't see anything suspicious. No signs of struggle, nothing disturbed in the apartment that would cause any suspicion at all. So they bounce out of the apartment and they go look around the rest of the building to see if they could see anything. After walking around the building, looking around, not really seeing much of interest, they go back to his apartment and they're walking around, and one of the officers walks into his room where they smell the smell of a disinfectant that they didn't smell earlier when they were in the apartment. In the room, they also spot a bottle of Pine Sol, the cleaner. So they're looking around a bit. They pull back his bed, Julian's bed, and they see a large blue duffel bag behind the bed. So of course, they pop the duffel bag out, they open it up, and they see something very tightly wrapped in plastic, and it ended up being her torso, and only her torso. So now they have the rest of the body to find. So they're searching around more. So they go to the garbage pile outside the building, and they sort through the 50+ bags of garbage out there of everyone inside the building. And inside 4 of those bags were her legs, arms, and her head. And the pickup was supposed to be the next day for the garbage, so thank God that they showed up to do that missing persons report then, showed up to investigate the missing persons report then, because otherwise they would have went off to the dump, and that would have been a whole other situation that's way harder to handle than just finding them right outside the apartment. So right on the sidewalk outside of her apartment, they actually pieced the body together. I'm assuming they had, caution tape and stuff blocking them off, so it wasn't really right out in the public to see, but I'm sure they couldn't shield from the public view that much. Look at this right here. They knew I needed to film a video, so they blocked this area off. The people of New York love me. It's really incredible. Let's hop out. We're right by the apartment. You guys should start paying attention to which areas I turn the truck off and lock it in. Say hi to the truck, by the way. But yeah, be a pretty good guide on where's safe and where's not in the city. Oh, do you guys see that rat? That's a rat. Come on, move for us. There we go. Hello. It's not a small one either. We don't lie when we say our rats are big over here. And you guys know from the videos I do, we got a lot of them. Okay, so like I said, they pieced the body together on the sidewalk outside of the apartment. I wish I knew the apartment number, but it was 34 Hillside Avenue. So this building, somewhere up in here, was where this all went down. It's pretty crazy. The guy, Julian, was 23 years old. She was 37. She was nice enough to... Oh, there's more rat traps. All right, so they have a problem in this building. But I think every building in the city has a problem. She was nice enough to offer a room to him. Not that he didn't have to pay for it, but, you know, she heard that he needed a room, so she offered. And this is what she gets from offering it. It's a cool little bike. So right there on the spot, they arrest Julian. They put him in cuffs. He ends up giving a 2-hour taped confession, which is very uncommon. But sometimes people have a guilty conscience when it comes to stuff like this, so they kind of just spill everything they know about the situation. So in the confession, they learn that he stabbed her 12 times in the abdomen and neck. There were no signs of sexual assault, thank God. Usually these situations have that kind of stuff going on. He actually tried to burn her body in the bathtub before finishing what he had to do. And that Friday, neighbors complained to the superintendent that they smelled burning and they saw smoke. And he blamed it on that he left soup on the stove while he got in the shower. Little did they know he was burning a lady's body in the bathtub. So when that didn't work, he realized he wasn't able to burn her. He hops on the subway, he goes downtown and grabs a circular saw from a hardware store or something, comes back up and dismembers her body. Look at the truck right there, come on. There is still no real reason why he did this. It doesn't make much sense. And I don't know if it's a bad thing, because you want to know what someone was thinking in the situation, why it happened. So at least it gives you some kind of, I don't know, closure of some sort. I keep almost forgetting about the outfit check for you guys. Got the mismatched black, Nikes on. Come on, what can you say about it? So after a confession like that, of course, he was sentenced to life in prison, and he was eligible for parole in 15 years, which I actually got some of the info from the friend that the mother ended up calling. She wrote a very in-depth letter, because he ended up being eligible for parole 13 years after he got sentenced. So she wrote a very long letter on why he shouldn't be let out, and her story and her experience from her end of what went down. She was actually, so this happened August 5th he was arrested. August 8th, she was supposed to go visit that friend in California for a high school reunion, and then go to Costa Rica. So it's really overall a horrible story. Everybody that knew her said that she was a great person. Even the superintendent said she didn't even get angry when stuff in her apartment was breaking down, which could make anybody angry, especially the superintendent, the guy that kind of has to tell you, oh, it's going to be a couple weeks till this gets fixed and that. It's like, he's like the guy that's built in to get annoyed at, and she didn't even do that. So it's still up in the air on why this happened, which is a terrible way to end this, but that's all the info I have for you on this situation. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.